Good morning, guys. It's your girl Jane of all trades, and this morning I'm just gonna talk a little. I'm gonna tell you guys about what happened over the weekend. Okay, so over the weekend I was in the shower and it was a knock at the door. Now, granted, I didn't hear the knock because I had my music up loud, and of course I was in the shower. So my son ran into the bathroom. He was like, "Mama, there's a man at the door." So I immediately panicked. Like, oh hell, like Joe, why in the hell did you go to the front door? Like, why would you open the door? Like, I'm flipping out. So I get out the shower to go close the front door, and he was like, he's not a stranger. He said, "Is your mommy at home?" And I was like, Josiah, what did I tell you? Don't open the door for anybody. Anybody who's supposed to be in this house, they got a key to this house. Don't go to the door. You know better than this. So long story short, I didn't whoop him. And I know everybody was like, girl, you should beat his ass. You should have fucked him up. Oh my God. No, it was a teacher moment and it was a loving moment, okay? So usually if I'm upset with the kids, like I take something away, tell them turn the TV off, or you can't play a game, or you can't do this, you can't do that. Last resort is always a whooping, and I hardly ever have to go there, okay? So in this situation, I just walked in the room and I was like, after I was done, after I locked the door, shut the door and locked it, I went back to my shower, finished my shower up. So when I was done, I went in the room and instead of taking anything away this time, I decided to just be like, have a conversation with him. So we had a conversation. I was just letting him know in the conversation, like, if somebody knock on the door, you can't do that. You can't go to the door because the stranger's at the door. Honestly, the first thing that popped in my head was, in the event that somebody was at the door, number one, I don't know who it was, but two, what if they would have took them? I'm in the shower, and the average person that's in the shower, when they get out the shower, you wrap up in your towel, you go sit on your bed. It take a while for you know what I'm saying, for you to completely dry off. I mean, I got rolls in places you ain't never seen. Okay, I can't just go out the door with all this meat wet. You know what I'm saying? So I had to make sure that in my mind, like, okay, you already know you got a whole process when you get out the shower. If somebody would have actually snatched your child and took off with him, how long would it have taken you to even realize that he was out of the house? Because when you get out of the shower, you got this long process. And most people, they ain't getting out the shower yelling through the house at their kids to see if they doing what they're supposed to do. So that was the situation. I was like, this is a teaching moment. So I went in there, I sat down, I talked to him, gave him a hug, told him I loved him. I was like, listen, baby, I just felt like anybody could have took you. Somebody could have snatched you. Please don't ever do that again. So that was number one. I didn't beat him or none of that crazy stuff. I didn't do anything like that. But what happened is last night, my car light was still on, the interior light. So it was a knock at the door. I didn't hear the knock at the door once again, but I had already went to bed. Y'all know I'm in bed 8:30 tops. And my son, he comes in my room. He said, Mommy, somebody's at the door. At that point in time, I smiled. It was a smile on my face. Main reason why it was a smile on my face was because instead of me beating him, for him to sit there and disobey me again, because we all know when you whoop your kids, we all done been kids. We try to find another way to do something. You know what I'm saying? We try to find another way to do it where our parents won't find out. Basically, that's how things like that happen. Anyway, he came and he woke me up, and it was just a neighbor telling me, hey, when I got home, I noticed your interior light was on in your car. I didn't want you to wake up with a dead battery. So that was cool. So I told her, thank you. And then I hugged my son and I told him, thank you for letting me know, because that's the proper way of doing it. But I said all of that to say is, a lot of times you hear parents say, children are ungrateful. Oh, my kids is ungrateful. I come home, my house look a mess. I come home, they ain't did this. I come home, somebody talking about your son, or your daughter, and you don't want to believe it's your child because you didn't raise your child like that. Well, guess what? When you ain't loving your child, and I'm not trying to be funny, but like a lot of single parents do this. You work all the time. You really don't know what your child is doing. Even two-parent households, it doesn't matter. You raised by your auntie, uncle, grandma, whoever. This person is normally out working somewhere, making sure that the kid has everything that they need, okay? You make sure your kids is dressed in the best. You make sure your kids' feet is fly. You make sure your kids this. You make sure, all of these extracurricular activities that your child want to do. You make sure that you're finding a way to fund it. And then your kids, you've done this your whole entire life. So therefore, as a child, people are like, oh, my kids think I'm a bank, or my kids are ungrateful. They're not. They're not ungrateful, and they don't think you're a bank. They're doing what you've done for them their entire life. Like their entire life, you've always provided for them no matter what. So now that they got a little age on them, they hit that middle school age, high school age, and they feel like they want to know why mama, why daddy, why auntie, why uncle, why grandma, why grandpa. They want to know why you're not doing something, okay? Because now you want to take stuff away. Oh, well, you didn't do your chores, so I'm not giving you no money to go to the game. You didn't do this, so I'm not doing this. I'm not buying you those shoes. So guess what? Guess who's getting a hold of these kids now? Okay, the gangs, the streets are getting a hold of these kids, and so you hear people like, oh, well, he or she came from a good family. None of that matters. None of that matters because the foundation of when they was growing up wasn't taught to them because mama, daddy, sister, brother, grandma, grandpa, auntie, uncle, whoever was just handing them stuff. Because as a kid, it's cute to just make sure they got it because you're too busy trying to show everybody else that you don't need help, you don't need this, you don't need that. Your kid gonna always have it, da 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 da. You too caught up in the clout chasing mode to understand that you creating a little fucking monster. Okay, you ain't did them created a little ungrateful ass monster, and now that they older, you feel like they're being disrespectful. No, they're not being disrespectful. They're being exactly what you trained them up to be. Okay, people gotta stop saying kids this, kids that. Kids are what the hell you create. But like, I didn't raise them like that. Well, technically, you did raise them like that because from yay high, you allowed to. You want that monster truck? Okay, little Johnny, get the monster truck. You get to check out. They want the Snicker bar. Guess what? You get them the Snicker bar. Shoot, they at the game. They want something from the concession stand. When I was little, you know what? If I went to the game, I definitely wouldn't get nothing from the concession stand. If I went to the fair, my mama gave me a certain amount of tickets. When them tickets was gone, it wasn't no wristbands. It was none of that. Okay, we go above and beyond to make sure these kids grow up to be ungrateful. This shit started at the foundation. If you don't want your kids out here in the gang, you know why? Because the gangs are providing them with stuff that their parents used to provide. It's so easy for kids to want to join the gang. Why? Because they get to get some shoes. You know what I'm saying? They get a little money in their pocket. They think they're doing something. Mama ain't paying attention because she ain't buying it. She ain't even realize the new J's on his feet or the Balenciagas that he got now, knowing that's a whole check for her. You know what I'm saying? It's simple stuff that you got to realize. Like, when y'all say be woke, it's time to really wake the fuck up and realize that your kids are the future. And the way it's going down, these kids don't care. They don't care because they haven't been taught to care. They haven't been taught to be loved. Tough love is when from ground high, yay high, you in the store and your son start cutting up or your daughter start cutting up, you pop them. And you let them know, I don't care how much you cut a fool. Pop their butt and they don't get it. But we too busy as soon as we don't want them to cry in the store, so we gonna go ahead and hand it to them because we want them to hush. But that mentality ain't gonna do them get these kids somewhere killed or in prison. So if I had to say anything for this morning message is pay attention to your kids. Pay attention to your kids. Love on your kids. Teach your kids the right way from the foundation all the way up. That way when they become a teenager or they becoming a young adult, they understand that the respect is neutral. They know how to respect people. They ain't out here running around like savages, like somebody didn't raise them right. It starts at home. It starts at home, guys. But anyway, this is my morning motivational message for the week. I feel sorry for the kids out here these days, but guys, you already know. If you like the video, like, share, leave a comment. I'm more than open to respond to anybody. But y'all have a good day. Have a rest of your, or shall I say, a good rest of your week.